sorrows that we hold silently in the sanctuary of our hearts. May the light of these candles and the compassion of this community remind us that wherever we are on our journey, each of us is worthy of love, and each of us is able to love. Let us return to that deep breath of life and love that moves within, between, and beyond us all. Let us take a deep breath together, perhaps rolling our shoulders back, relaxing our jaw, wiggling our fingers and toes, noticing and then releasing some tension from your body. Let us breathe in, appreciating the gift of this day. And breathing together, let us share a time of sacred silence. Will you lift your hearts and join me in the spirit of prayer and meditation, listening in these words for the language of faith most meaningful to you? Our prayer includes words by the Reverend Dan Schatz. Eternal presence, known by many names, known in many ways. We gathered this morning, apart and yet together, waking up in a changed and changing world, a world of triumphant hope, a world of ongoing struggle. In this time, may we each remember and honor our own strength and courage. May we each honor and remember our own vulnerabilities and hesitations and growing edges. We give thanks for the joys of our lives, joys personal, joys social, joys political. We give thanks for births and birthdays, the life milestones, connections that we have with friends and family far apart or able to come to our own backyards. As we open our hearts with our loved ones in joy, we also open our hearts remembering the separations we have from one another, honoring the challenge of isolation that we feel from our friends and family, distance that comes from the pandemic, distance that comes from not always having the shared values, the shared language, to communicate heart to heart and mind to mind. We open our hearts to all those among us who are struggling with their health. May they continue to grow stronger, healthier. May they have comfort and encouragement on this journey. We open our hearts to all those who grieve, the hundreds of thousands who have lost a loved one to COVID-19. And especially we open our heart to Beth Cook, whose father died this past Tuesday at the age of 91 from COVID. If our sorrows are recent or long ago, if they are losses of a life, if they are losses of other kinds, let us care for one another in times of grief. Source of our being, source of our goodness, fill us with your balm in the anxiety of this time, the troubles of our lives and the division of a nation. Help us find peacefulness, compassion, and unity. As we honor veterans this week, remind us of the sacrifices made on our behalf by those who acted without a political agenda, but with dedication for the ideals of this country. As we struggle through the pandemic, give us compassion for one another in the fear we all experience, and help us respond by caring for others with the precautions we take, the patience we give, and the forgiveness we share. In a time of national transition, teach us that we are better than our worst impulses. Help us to bridge division, transcend violence, and overcome hatred. Be with those who are grieving today, who are afraid of the coming years, and also be with those who are celebrating and relieved. Open all our hearts, that we may understand one another's struggles and joys and fears. Be with those who are leaving office, and be with those who will lead us through the next 4 years, so that we may have a smooth and peaceful transfer of power. Holy love, fill us with your balm and guide us this day and onwards. We ask this in the names of all those known and unknown, present and absent, remembered and forgotten. We ask this in the name of all the helpers of humankind. Amen, and blessed be. Our reflection music this morning is meditation on breathing. Let us lift our voices in song. Our reading this morning is by the Reverend Ashley Horan. You are loved beyond belief. You are enough. You are precious. Your work and your life matters, and you are not alone. You are part of a we, a great cloud of witnesses, living and dead, who have insisted that this beautiful, broken world of ours is a blessing, worthy of both deep gratitude and fierce protection. Whatever happens tomorrow, our ancestors and our descendants are beckoning us, compelling us onward toward greater connection, greater compassion, greater commitment to one another and to the earth. Together, we are resilient and resourceful enough to say yes to that call, to make it our life's work in 1,000 different ways, knowing that we can do no other than to bind ourselves more tightly together and throw ourselves into the holy work of showing up again and again to be part of building that world of which we dream, but which we have not yet seen. Breathe in, breathe out. I can take a deep breath for the first time in 4 years. I've read this again and again over the last 24 hours on my Facebook page and text messages from friends and family. People breathing in and out a sigh of relief, of release, of possibility. I can take a deep breath for the first time in 4 years. Breathe in, my friends. Breathe out. And what are you breathing in and breathing out? Relief, rage, hope, fear, peace, love. The song we sing again and again, meditation on breathing. When I breathe in peace. When I breathe out love. It was written in the wake of September 11th, a time when sorrow drew our nation together. A prayer of sorts, a hope that we can breathe in peace and can breathe out love. Sorrow drew us together, and anger and fear drew us apart. There was an increase in anti-Muslim violence, the beginning of seemingly endless wars, the Patriot Act and the erosion of our civil liberties. Sorrow drew us together, fear and anger drew us apart, and resistance and resilience drew us together again with rising social movements to understand and protect a multicultural America, a resurgence of peace movements, an understanding that peace requires justice and equity, a resurgence of activism for civil liberties of all times. And in the last decade, we've seen the resurgence of more social movements, movements for LGBTQ rights, movements for Black lives, the Me Too movement, climate resilience. Fear pulled us apart and became and helped us become an ever more politically polarized nation, conflicted on the legacy of American democracy. There's been a resurgence of the racism, classism, exploitation that has always been part of the American project. Breathe in, breathe out. Breath like social movements, ebbs and flows in a rhythm of fulfillment and release. Breath can be life-giving. Breath can take away life. Sometimes we need to breathe out our fear, our anxiety, our worry, in order to have the space to breathe in hope, possibility, joy, so that we might have the space and the strength to breathe out love, courage, compassion, justice, commitment. Breathe in, breathe out. I've lived in the Boston area for over a decade now, but I am from Philadelphia, and I am feeling a whole lot of hometown pride this weekend. As a Philly girl, the history and the character of that city forms and informs who I am. My mother's people have lived there for over 150 years as they made their ways from England, then Germany, then Italy, to this city that is named after an ideal of brotherly love. As a Philly girl, the history and character of this city is part of who I am. Its long history of multiracial collaboration and its long history of racial tension. This weekend, my friends in Philly posted on Facebook videos of dancing in the streets, of a marching band outside of the convention center as votes were counted, of people singing behind masks, but singing all the same. It was a joy to see these familiar faces, these familiar streets, singing a new song. And this summer, those same friends posted different videos of protesting in the streets. Yes, there was some singing, and there was tear gas, and there were rubber bullets. And those friends who showed up to sing in front of the convention center this weekend, they showed up in June throughout largely African-American communities to literally help one another heal from the wounds of those rubber bullets, the wounds of that tear gas, when the 5th largest city in America responded with such violence to a mostly peaceful movement to end racism, to end police brutality. So my people from Philadelphia, much like my people here in Massachusetts, have showed up to dance with joy, have showed up to protest. And the message of this dancing, the message of this protesting, it is in many ways the same message, though in a different environment. A message calling for equality, for the end of systemic racism, a message to protect one another's lives and livelihoods. Breathe in, breathe out. We must breathe in order to have the energy to dance in the streets, in order to have the energy to protest in the streets. We must breathe so that we have the safety to simply walk down the streets, whatever our religion, whatever the color of our skin, whatever our gender and sexuality, we must have the freedom to breathe. Yesterday, when I heard the news that Joe Biden had won the election, I was attending a local Black Lives Matter demonstration in Randolph. It was a demonstration that I heard about last Monday when our congregation hosted a vigil on our church property for Black lives. This demonstration yesterday was in support of a man named Christopher Diven and his mother, Janelle. Christopher was hit by a police car over the summer after having survived a car accident where he was not allowed to return to his car to collect his personal items, where he was left on the side of the road, stripped of his dignity. And in that moment, a car crashed into him, a police car. He was seriously injured, but lived. And in the months since then, his mother, Janelle, has been protesting in front of the Randolph police station every day from 4 to 5 in the evening. And recently, she was arrested for her protest. And this demonstration was to support the ongoing efforts of her and her son and to celebrate her birthday. So it was part protest and part party before we even heard this momentous news. The gathering was small but energetic, a time of resistance and resilience, with music and dancing and birthday cake and legal observers. People ready to come to one another's defense in honor of their dignity. They told stories of what had happened. The organizers quoted from the Constitution, and cars honked as they drove by in support of the Black Lives Matter signs. I had planned to be at this demonstration, whatever the results of the election, whether or not we had results. Because the need to work for justice remains. My message this morning would be the same, whatever the results of the election. It's the message that we heard today in the story that Joan told us. The story out of the Jewish mystical tradition of shattered vessels and our collective work to repair the world. A message that our Jewish siblings in faith know as tikkun olam, meaning to repair a broken world. Tikkun olam, to gather up all those shattered pieces of light to make the world whole again. But the Hebrew words tikkun olam, they have a second meaning. Tikkun means to repair, and it also means to build. So the message of tikkun olam is visionary. It means to repair and to build, to respond and be proactive. In order to repair the world, we must have the clear, candid, compassionate, courageous vision to see what is broken. And in order to build the world that we dream of, we need to have the vision to see what is broken and also what is beautiful and possible. My message this morning would be the same whatever had happened on Tuesday, whatever had happened yesterday, that we must repair what is broken and build a more beautiful world. The message is the same, but the soundtrack is different. Now there's more music and dancing in the streets, as well as those demonstrations and protests. The message is the same: build and rebuild for love and justice. And now we know that there are somewhat different tools for that work to build and rebuild. And we also have the same tools that we have been cultivating for years, for decades, for centuries. Tools to build relationships across difference. Tools of resilience to keep going when our efforts do and do not succeed. The tools of listening. the tools of amplifying the voices of those who have been least heard in history, the tools to look honestly at what is broken, and the tools to look hopefully, joyfully, courageously at what can be made whole. Friends on the journey, breathe in, breathe out. This breath of life that we share is always there to ground and guide us. We may need to breathe in different ways, breathe different prayers and aspirations right now. What we need to ground us will be different based on who we are, the circumstances and social locations that profoundly affect our lives as individuals, as families, as communities. If you need to exhale a deep, sobbing sigh of relief, do that. If you need to take a deep breath and sing out in joy and possibility, do that. If you do not know what you need, if you are full of heart and joy and confusion, keep breathing so that you have the energy to keep seeking and keep striving. Tomorrow, injustice will still be here. Tomorrow, the work for justice will still be here. And we will need to keep breathing out, keep breathing in order to do that work for justice, grounded in compassion and guided by love. May it be so. Amen. And blessed be. Our next song is written and performed by the contemporary Jewish song leader Batya Levine. She wrote it after the 2016 election as a message of resilience, hope, and justice. And that message resonates still today. So let us lift our voices in song. We'll be pasting the lyrics into the chat.
We rise, humbly hearted rise, won't be divided rise, with spirit to guide us rise, in hope. In prayer, we find ourselves here. In a hope, in prayer, we're right here. In a hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here. In hope, in prayer, we're right here, and we rise. All of the children rise. Elders with wisdom rise. Ancestors surround us rise. In hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here. In hope, in prayer, we're right here. In hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here. In hope, in prayer,
We drink from wells we did not dig, and we sit in the shade of trees we did not plant. As recipients of all we have received from those who have come before us, we're called to share our abundance with those who will come after us. As a voluntary association, our church is sustained through the gifts of the members and friends of this congregation. Your generosity makes it possible for us to hold online worship services, workshops, and small groups, even in these unusual times. Your generosity allows us to be faithful stewards of our historic building so that it will continue to be a place of sanctuary and learning when it is once again safe to gather in person. Your generosity helps us to strive for justice and live our congregation's values in the wider world. Please take this moment to visit our website and consider clicking on the donate button located on the homepage of our website, ufpc.org. Let us open our hearts as these gifts to support the good works of United First Parish Church are joyfully given and gratefully received.
There are many ways to participate in the life and leadership of our congregation here at United First Parish Church. Our ongoing programs include that every week our Director of Religious Education, Joan McDonald, is creating a children's chapel service for families to watch in their own time. These videos are found on the religious education page of our UFPC website, and we've pasted a link there in the chat. So for folks who have young ones at home or young ones in your life or feeling young at heart, please do check those out for wisdom and wonder and inspiration. Every Thursday afternoon, we continue to host a Black Lives Matter standout on our steps from 3:30 to 5:30. In partnership with Quincy for Transformative Change. And we hope that you will join us in bringing this important moral message to the heart of Quincy. All week, the Board of Governors has been hosting some open spaces in our Zoom room for listening and sharing in this charged week about the future of our country. And today I am hosting a listening circle from 12:30 to 2:30. If folks are able to come at 12:30, we'll start with a round of sharing what's on our heart. And if you want to drop in a little later in the afternoon, that is fine as well. I'll send an email right after this service with the Zoom link for that gathering. And now let us return once more to that breath of life and love. As we hear these words of benediction, they are inspired by the words of Howard Thurman and authored by Reverend Anastasia Zinke. When the lights of the polling places are switched off, when the banners from rallies come down, when the organizers and poll workers are back home, when lawyers archive their casework, then the work of democracy begins. To heal the nation, to contain the pandemic, to provide for the destitute, to release the children prisoners, to call each other neighbor and kin, to bring peace among the people, and to make music in the heart. May we go in peace and go in love to be a blessing to the world. Amen. Please join me in singing Carry the Flame as we extinguish our chalice.
Carry the flame of peace and love until we meet again. Carry the flame of peace and love until we meet again.
Everyone is welcome to join us for our virtual social hour. We will have 2 breakout groups to discuss the prompts. What do you need to breathe in or breathe out in order to live in a values-based way at this time? Or what do you think this country needs to breathe in and breathe out in order to live up to our ideals? And those prompts are pasted into the chat as well. We'll have 2 breakouts for that, and we'll also hold this general room open for folks who want a more casual conversation.
Hello.
Took me a minute to get.
Yes, my dear. Yeah, I know you gotta wait. Nothing I can do about it. We gotta wait a little bit more, okay? Man's starving to death.
Did you need something, Al?
No, I'm having technical difficulties here. I'm sorry.
It was funny because it like said Al needed help or something, and then it sent me to your room.
Oh. Hello, everyone.
Hey, Al.
Hi, everyone.
Let me go back.
I loved that, Clyde.
Yes, I did too. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I get it out once or twice.
Knew there would be people, and so we just walked around until we found the crowd, and
Yeah,
it was so much fun.
that's
People were
great.
Static, so yeah.
I had just opened the door for a client at work, and cars and honking and outside. I said, "Oh, there must be some good news."
On somebody's side.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
wish I had been part of
this
that.
morning.
You what?
I wish I had been part of
Earthquake this
that.
morning.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Really?
Yeah.
A 4.0 just off of like New Bedford. I'm standing, like getting my computer ready, and I'm like, the house is shaking. And I go look outside to see if like, somebody ran into something. And then 20 minutes later, they made the announcement. So like, weird things happening.
Mm.
I felt
Yeah,
it-
it's like an overloaded truck drove by and hit several bumps, and the whole house goes.
I felt it. Art was sitting right next to me, and I jumped. I was like, "What was that?" He's like, "He didn't feel anything, nothing." He's sitting literally right next to me. So I went outside. Same thing. I went outside to see if a truck had hit the outside of the building or something. I was like,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I don't know what that was. And then, of course, I didn't think of it. Thank God I didn't, because I would have panicked. Somebody said they thought it was the compressor station. It's like, oh my God. Thank God that didn't come into my mind.
There was a fairly large earthquake about 4 or 5 years ago that it actually happened in Canada, but because of the shape of the mountain line and the way that Back Bay is filled in, a lot of the buildings in Back Bay felt it, but nobody else felt it, and so we felt it in at work, where there was like this little shimmy, and we were like, "What was that?" And it took about half an hour before the news was saying, "Yeah, so people in Boston did feel an earthquake, but it was in Canada."
Mm.
Yeah, there's a major fault line that runs where the plates initially kind of crashed. So
Yeah, right where the nuclear power plants are.
yes,
Joy.
exactly. And probably the compressor station.
Probably.
Yeah. Oh man.
Kate, I think I interrupted you.
Oh, so, I was just gonna say, I wish I had been part of like the street celebrations and the honking, but I was kind of more in a peaceful, like I was on my kayak and like silence, but I appreciated later, like hearing on the news, like all the background noise of cars honking and people yelling. So I was glad I got to at least hear that celebration.
And to see it in cities all over the country. It
World,
really,
the world.
World, yeah.
really cool.
Yeah, I've been getting messages from, from friends who are in other countries, like, we could sort of like, welcome back. And, and like this one, someone we met camping who lives in Cape Town, South Africa. Congratulations, you have a human as president-elect. The whole world is relieved. It's like someone we're not even in close contact with, that was like a random acquaintance, but just, obviously was moved to reach out. So it's, I feel that relief too.
I've been feeling waves of letting it sink in about just tears come to my eyes, and like there's a woman in the White House. I can't, it's just amazing. And it just keeps like sinking in a little bit deeper, and I just am thrilled.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Did everybody watch the speeches last night?
Yeah, they both
Yeah.
terrific.
Listened, so normal.
Full sentences.
Yeah.
And very little I statements. Statements.
Right.
So most of you know I grew up in very conservative Lancaster, Pennsylvania, which is part of the red of Pennsylvania. So Philly and Pittsburgh are blue, So it's been, I have been happy, but not ecstatic, because I understand how deep the divide is. Like, so many people still did vote for Trump, people that I know and love. And so I'm having a hard time integrating that. And I just feel tired. And there's been remarkably, I mean, good and bad. There's been nothing on Facebook virtually, so all those folks have at least posted nothing. So I think that's positive. So, and I'm certainly not going to rub it in their faces, because I remember how horrible that was 4 years ago. Being called libtards and crybabies and snowflakes and all of that. And I'm not going to do that. But at least to one person who was complaining about how he felt cheated and disenfranchised, and he went on to say other things, and I Facebooked him back and I said, I know exactly how you feel. I felt that way 4 years ago, and just left it there. I didn't, and hopefully at least people might be able to hear that and say, okay, so now we've both felt that way now, like, what are we going to do moving forward? I don't know. I feel kind of like, how you feel tired after a very long physical struggle, and you don't just bounce right back. I feel just a little fatigued, I think.
Funny, I felt the complete opposite. I woke up this morning and I just felt relief and just this sense of dread that was gone. And I know that it's not going to be perfect, and I know there's a lot of work we have to do, but I'm kind of basking in the joy of it for a while and just letting that sink in, because I have felt so despondent the last 3.5 years that I'm allowing myself to just be happy.
I wish I could. One half me really, we were having champagne last night, but I have this real sense of, if nothing, just for the next 2 months, real apprehension. And these people, they're not going to go away. And they're martyrs to boot. It's scary what might happen. I was surprised. I really thought there might be outbreaks of violence already. I'm just kind of like holding my breath.
Yeah.
I was concerned too, and I still, but I'm allowing myself to, Lisa said, feel some joy. I feel like I've been like released from like a hostage situation where like I was like in a basement, and now I can see things are brighter, and like just noticing everything in a more vibrant way. And I'm gonna appreciate that. But I do appreciate that a big percentage felt like they wanted 4 more years of that, and we got to figure out what the heck went wrong. But for like a few days, I'm just gonna feel joy before I feel anxious. And I probably won't rest until January 20th. But yeah.
Did anybody see? So I'm too old to like stay up to actually see Saturday Night Live when it's broadcast anymore. But sometimes I'll watch clips the next morning. So I don't know if anybody saw, but so far I've only watched the the cold open that they have for SNL, and I could just really relate to it, right? Like, so they have the Joe Biden is all like calm, and we're going to be unifying, and like the Kamala, Maya Rudolph as Kamala Harris is like, maybe we could gloat like just a little bit, and like maybe just a teensy bit, and like let's dance a little and stuff, whatever. I don't know. I was like, yeah. So so I'm very careful about what I share publicly on Facebook. I totally agree with Brenda. Like, don't want to rub anything in, but I am actually enjoying like a couple like private message groups of close friends, and like people are sharing memes and whatever, and I'm enjoying that. Like, I think, you know, yeah, I think that's okay too.
I had to shut down an old classmate who was putting stuff on my wall on Facebook, and I had to delete some really unhelpful, not useful, and incorrect data on a post that was about recognizing how happy some people will be about this. And I had to say, don't mistake my celebration for gloating. This isn't gloating. Gloating is rubbing it in your face and saying, I won. No, I'm not gloating. I'm celebrating. Don't do that. And so, yeah, it's helpful to remind yourself that there's a difference between being happy and gloating.
Yeah. And there were a bunch of, well, a handful of Trump supporters at the State House. And so it was really interesting because we ended up kind of going, they were on the State House side and we were on the opposite side. And there were cars driving by waving flags and honking, and eventually we kind of took over the steps of the State House. And I ended up talking to this Trump supporter, and he said, well, you all came here we were just here to, express our rights, and you came to oppose us. And I said, we're here to celebrate. We're not opposing you at all. And, so we had a really good conversation, and it made me really hopeful in some way that, we are all just humans, and we have to figure out a way to talk to each other again. And I've come to the realization a little late in the game that Biden's the exact right person for right now, because he knows how to do that. He knows how to talk to people who are different from him. And so anyway, it is going to be a tough transition, but I'm up for it.
Has there been any projections of when they'll finish counting in the few remaining states?
I don't know. I stopped watching the news obsessively, so.
What it's North Carolina. I didn't hear you.
I think it's November 11th.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah, certification takes a while. They have to, I think there's a threshold of established ballots counted before the states each do an actual proper certification.
And the Electoral College actual presidential election doesn't happen until December.
Right. So it's Alaska, North Carolina, and Nevada outstanding. Is that it?
Nevada's been called, it's Arizona, North Carolina.
And Georgia.
Georgia's got like a little bit. That's the battleground states. Practically every state has votes that's still being counted, which is typical. That's standard practice, but no way could the outcome be changed as a result of the outstanding vote.
Right.
So it's you name them: Alaska, Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina.
One night at dinner, we were trying to figure out the whole, or understand the electoral college system. And I remember reading about that December deadline. What is that? What happens in December with the electoral college?
The actual electors vote.
So
in other words, Kate, the way I understand it is, honestly, even though a state's popular votes were for a certain candidate, there is the potential that the electoral college could vote for the other candidate. I think it's only ever happened once in US history, and it was pretty ugly, but it could happen.
Wow. Okay.
I think there's been some recent legislation in a lot of states that have made that illegal, that the electors are bound to the result of the popular vote.
Popular. Oh, okay.
But that's not in all 50 states.
Okay.
There's a term for it. What is that?
Yeah.
Quiet there, Stephen. What's up? You all right?
Yeah, I just was totally amazed that basically the cup is half empty with half the population actually voting for the president. I didn't expect that. I thought his performance was so horrible for the past 4 years, particularly around the coronavirus. And his performance at the first debate was beyond my wildest imaginings. And it really troubles me that given that basically 50% of the people that voted for him. And it kind of boggles my mind. And also I do find it troubling. I don't think that their view shifting or our view shifting is an easy thing. I don't even know if I don't think I'm optimistic about it at all, that will happen. I'm not sure. Hopefully some of it will happen, but I don't know. It's amazing given what we've seen on the media, what we've read, that 50% of the American people voted for him, or 50% of the voters voted for him.
It is a sobering thing. I think we were all hoping for some extraordinary moment of repudiation, which we didn't get.
Exactly.
We're happy to settle for the guy getting fired.
Oh, me too.
Substantial repudiation is sad.
I agree with you totally, Jim. Yeah.
Interesting.
Sorry.
I was just going to say, it seems to me that campaign signs went down really quickly after the election. How has it been in your neighborhoods? Like there were a few Biden signs Trump signs in Squantum. There were almost no Biden signs, but those Trump signs went down really fast. I was just curious how it has been in other neighborhoods.
There are no Trump signs in our neighborhood. We're the only ones within sight that have a Biden sign, and we still have ours up. So I haven't noticed.
About 10 days ago, I had to take a Trump sign down from right in front of the police station. I don't know. I was driving by and there was a sign up and it pulled right into the parking lot, and I went in to talk to them about it. And they said they didn't know. And then I was like, well, it's right in that strip of grass, between the police parking lot. You could see it from the lobby. Like you could see the sign was there. It was right in that strip between that and C Street. And I said, well, I don't think that's appropriate. And, as police, wouldn't you want to be seen as nonpartisan and da-da-da? And they're like, well, yeah, well, maybe we could call the DPW and have them remove. I was like, are you kidding me? You don't need, it's just a lawn sign. I was like, well, I could take it away right now. And they said, okay, well, we won't watch you. Go ahead. But I was like, how could you let that be up at all?
Good for you.
So now I have a Trump sign sitting in my, backyard that I need to get rid of.
Well,
Good
good
for
for
you,
you,
Sarah.
Sarah. Awesome. I
Absolutely.
mean, I'm so impressed. I'm
Me
so
too.
impressed. Good for you.
Well, I was telling people, like, I mean, my husband was like, oh my gosh, I would never do that. Like, there were other people like, I would never walk into the police station and talk to them about that. And I was like, well, maybe so the white privilege thing. Yeah, I'm like this, middle-aged white lady. I can use that for good, right? So I was just like,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Go full Karen for the right cause.
Well, it was
Can I
lovely
speak to
see.
your manager?
I know. I love that. Great to see everybody. I'm gonna have to leave this group and have a great, glorious day. Enjoy the weather, and I'll see you soon.
You too.
Bye, Kate.
Hi, Kate.
Bye.
Yeah.
Anybody?
Yeah,
doing
it is a
anything
great
fun?
day out there, isn't it?
Yeah,
Beautiful.
Supposed to be 75 tomorrow.
really.
Criminal to stay inside. Me and Steve, you're gonna go to the zoo.
You're
Yeah.
kayaking
Nice.
like any
Has
minute now.
anybody gone to, speaking of the zoo, has anybody gone to Zoo Lights? There's a whole light show at Franklin Park.
It's sold out totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
And then they had to reduce the number of people who could see it, so they had to refund some people.
Oh, yeah, we have tickets for next weekend, so I was just.
Double
wondering.
check that those are still good.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll do.
I think they're gonna do something else closer to Christmas, another thingy.
Uh-huh.
Hey, Liz.
Hi.
Good to see you. Hi.
Liz, how you doing?
Okay.
Joan, how's Zoe doing? Chloe. Is it Chloe or Zoe?
Chloe, she's doing better.
What's wrong?
Oh, she's been sick on and off, but for the past couple of days, she's liked going for long walks, and she's pulling me versus me pulling her, so that's good.
Good, good.
My sister's cat's Zoe and your dog is Chloe, and then I think Joan Brazier has either a Zoe or a Chloe, and I can't keep them all straight.
It's like sorting out the Liams and Maxes in the youth at church.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna get myself outside. It's nice to see everyone.
Yeah,
and,
you too.
have a good
Yeah.
week. Okay.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Have a good week.
yeah.
Two.
Take care.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Joan, are we the only ones here?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of people in the breakout room, so I'm just gonna send them a note.
Okay, I'm gonna go too. You have a good week. I'm glad I was here.
See you next week.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Hey there.
That was great. Hey.
You all are the last ones.
Oh,
We were talking about education.
I know we were talking about history. Maybe or not. And yeah, and how we learn history. And both Kate and I went to both British and American schools. Actually, Daphne, you might have as well, and how we learned the same history in different ways.
Yeah. I mean, I left Haiti. I was young, so I don't remember a lot. But yeah, I mean, it was totally different from what we learned here. Yeah, but yeah.
I didn't hear you, Kate.
Daphne, when did you come over from Haiti?
I was 15, so 1987.
Okay.
So it's been a while.
I
Yeah.
entered high school around that time.
I'm sorry.
High school when you came to the US?
Yeah, so I did high school for like a year, roughly a year, because I was at that age that I was in between 11 and 12th grade.
Gotcha.
So I just had to learn how to, English. So that's why they kept me. But yeah. Been here for a while.
Cool.
I guess Joan is here to tell us to
Wrap it up.
wrap it up. It was nice chatting with both of you.
Wow.
You know,
Same
thanks for
here.
the history lesson. It was great.
Yeah, I love talking history. My father was always into looking at perspectives from different religions and different worlds.
Yeah.
And you know, with him working in the UN, it was really good to see perspectives from behind the scene as well. So
Yeah,
anyway,
that's good. Well,
So we-
enjoy your Sunday. Go for a
Will
walk.
do.
God knows when the winter will get back again.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
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 Probably see everyone at 12:30. Or we'll go for a walk. All right. Bye, Joan.
Bye.
Bye.